Welcome to the tutorial. We are going to be doing a very simple drag mug. I'm taking isopropyl alcohol on a towel and just going through my eyebrows. I want this tutorial to be beginner friendly, no gatekeeping here, and I also want to be encouraging and supportive because that's the energy I'm trying to put out into the world. So welcome to Mia Likey's channel, and you guys can be a little likey for the time being. Right now you're all my drag children because I'm going to teach you how to do some drag makeup. So first you're going to want to take isopropyl alcohol and clean those brows because this is going to remove all the oils and just dirt and stuff and really get a clean base for that glue. And if you don't do this step, if you're having issues with blocking your brows, this could be the step that you are missing. And you can get this at the Dollar Tree, so no excuse. And speaking of Dollar Tree, a lot of the makeup, well actually not a lot of it, actually only one thing I have here is from the Dollar Tree, actually two things. All of my lashes are from the Dollar Tree and I stack them together, and I have this really nice liquid blush that I got from the Dollar Tree. But I will say most of this makeup is affordable. I get a lot of this at Ulta, and I have a lot of Essence. I have the Essence powder, Essence concealer, Essence liner, Essence lip liners. The Essence lip liners, I swear, are a dupe for the MAC. Like, I swear they are made in the same factory. I saw a TikTok, which who knows how accurate that is, but I saw a TikTok saying that there's only like 1 or 2 lip liner manufacturers, and I swear these lip liners, they look so much like the MAC ones. Do I have a MAC one here? They look so similar, and I swear they apply just the same. Like, I do not see a difference between these two, so go out and grab these, specifically Sugar and Spice. The best. So first up, we are going to block the brows, and I recommend using Elmer's Purple Disappearing Glue. I've used the Block, is that what the name of the place is? Block glue, and it's not purple, and it does not work as good, so pick this up, also at Dollar Tree. And you're also going to want to have a spoolie. This one is like literally covered in so much glue, and I have this other one that fell off the brush, but we're still going to use her. And then some people I know also like to use a brush like this that has like a flat tip like this to help press things up against the side. And then also you can use these if you want. So another thing to have on hand. Take the glue and work from the outside in, and I hold my hair back. Do you guys like my Mickey ears? They were sent by my girlfriend's mom. You're gonna wanna work this glue in, and you're gonna want quite a bit, not too much, but working it from the back and get all up in those hairs. Keep your real hair out of it. And immediately you're gonna take your spoolie and press the brow hairs up. And now we're not trying to like fight the grain and like go in an opposite direction because that's gonna look crazy. You're gonna wanna go in the natural direction of the brow hairs and just lay them as flat as possible. It's like you want each individual hair laying flat on the skin. And you're gonna wanna go over it while it's still wet and sticky before it dries, and try to get it as flat as possible while it is still wet. And if you turn to the side and look, you can kind of see from the side angle if things are flat or not. And I just lick my fingers if a little hair gets loose to get rid of that, because glue is water soluble. So if you're wondering how do I get this off at nighttime, it is just water. So to wipe around the outside, I also just use water. It can be tempting to want to wipe away all this extra glue right now, but I really don't want to disturb anything about this, so we're just gonna leave it for now. We will wipe it away later. And yes, you are going to have some excess around there. Try to keep it out of your hairline. And I'm going to do this other brow and we'll be back. Okay, now that you see this one is done, you can see that they are like facing kind of different directions. And that's because these brow hairs I think are just a little bit longer and facing a little different direction than this one. So that's perfectly okay. Just go with the natural flow and make sure they are flat. That is the most important thing. And next, you need a craft blower. You're going to use a blow dryer on the cool setting. Do not use the hot. You're going to melt. Don't even play with that, okay? Cold setting. If you don't have a cold setting, sit in front of AC, sit in front of a fan, something like that, and blast your eyebrows. So now that I've blow dried them, they are hard, and you can see I still have a couple hairs poking up here, and they're not completely flat. That's okay. I'm gonna go in with another layer, but we are not swirling it. We are just going flat. And if by this step you have like crazy crunchies, hairs laying on top of each other, get the water, wipe it off, start over. Trust me, it is better to start over at that point than to try to continue with a lumpy mess. And then hit it again with the blow dryer on cool. Now that we have 2 layers down, I'm going to take a towel with a little bit of water and I'm going to clean up around the edges. And we're not going to do this at the very end, because if you wait towards the very end, you might have like a demarcation line and we don't want that. We just want a nice, subtle, smooth fade between the glue and our skin. Okay, now we are going in for layer 3. And if you need to use a spoolie to flatten it out again, I recommend probably just restarting them like I said earlier, or waiting until the end to use this over that full layer to smooth it out, because this is sticky, and when you put this down and then pull it, I mean, find out for yourself, but I'm trying to explain to you that it doesn't create a fun situation. So yeah, try not to use your spoolie after that initial application. And then you guessed it, blow dryer. You do this after every layer. Taking some water on a towel and cleaning up again. I should also mention at this point in the video that it is important when you are doing drag makeup to have a fan or something, or AC beside you. I really want the audio quality on this to be good, but I have to have a fan facing me or else I will literally melt. So I'm so sorry if there's a slight white noise in the background, but this is essential just as much as any makeup is to making sure all this stays put. And that's actually why you see fans, like the drag queens all have fans, the clacky fans, because you need those to like literally keep your mug on or else you're gonna melt it all off. Okay, I think this is layer 4. I usually do 4 to 5 layers. I find beyond that it gets just like a little redundant. Like by 6, you thick. So if you're not cleaning those edges, it might look a little crazy. Okay, by this point, I usually do like a little inspection. I see what's going on. I see I have like a little fleck of glue there, and I'm just gonna lick my finger and just press that away there, because again, glue is water soluble, so you can use water or spit to clean it up. I'm sorry if that's nasty, but it's real. And I just kind of evaluate. I'm like, do I want another layer? Do I want to do a 5th layer? Is that 5? See, I literally lose track at a certain point. Okay, I decided I'm going to do one more thin layer, and I'm going to lick the glue before I put it on. I know that's nasty, but it helps put a really thin layer down. The venue that I'm going to tonight is a little warm, so I want to make sure I give that extra security in case I start to sweat through my brows. If you are following along with me and at this point you're feeling very impatient, like when is this going to be over, I'm so sorry to break it to you, but this is the most tedious part of the makeup process, other than, dare I say, winged liner. So just bear with it and know that the patience that you're putting in between each step and making sure it's completely dry before you add another layer, making sure it's completely flat, using the blow dryer, cleaning up the edges around that, it's all going to ensure that you have a nice flawless base for the rest of your makeup and that you don't need to start over. Because like I said, if you're having bumps and lumps and all that, like no amount of eyeshadow is going to fix that. So I like to wait until they are completely dry. They're still just like slightly tacky, and wait a little bit longer, and then I take powder and then I press it against them, not when it's wet. I know some people do it when it's wet, but I wait till it's completely dry. The powder that I'm using is the Essence Skin Trio Loose Setting Powder, Blurring, Brightening, Smoothing. This was only $6, so, and it comes in 3 colors. It's like pink, purple, peach. Which one am I using right now? I think I'm using the peach, yeah. I'm using the peach, and this I just got because it was cheap. They're like regular color translucent powder. I think it was $9, but it's like, why not try the $3? I guess it's $3 cheaper. Why not try? Girl, I do drag, not math. This was cheaper. I bought it, and it works just as good if you don't mind a little bit of pigment, which I do not. Once it's sat for a second, I take a big fluffy brush and I dust away the excess. And now you can see here, this is our flawless flat base. So one of the reasons why I like having a towel to first wipe away all the dirt from my eyes with the alcohol, or eyebrows, oh my gosh, do not put alcohol in your eye. Also to wipe away the glue with some water, and then I like to put it in my lap, and this kind of catches extra makeup that falls so it doesn't go on my clothes. And then also I use it to kind of spot clean brushes really quick, because I clean my brushes about once every 3 months, and I know I should be doing it more often, but that's the best I can commit myself to, and I feel like that's more often than most drag queens. So comment below, how often do you wash your makeup brushes? I'm very curious. Also, tell me how many times you reuse lashes. I had this debate at the club because I saw the DCC cheerleaders talk about how they reuse them 1 to 2 times and throw them away. These are Dollar Tree, but I've used them a dozen times each. I'm going to be using the Makeup Forever Stick Foundation. I'm so sorry, but I believe they are discontinuing this. And as you can see, I literally dig out of them with this brush. This is my favorite foundation to use as brow cover. You want something full coverage. So whatever you have, Just make sure it is full coverage. And when you apply it to the brow, I recommend using a brush because beauty blenders have liquid in them, because obviously you want them to use them. That water will eventually soak up into that eyebrow and it will leave you with splotchiness. So only use that at the very end once you have a nice layer down. To blend this out, I'm going to use a little brush like this. And I'm actually going to dip it in here and just get a little bit of foundation on it and use that to kind of blend this out. I'm going to go in with one more layer. Can you see how little foundation is left in here? I'm using this down to the bone because it's my favorite and I'm so sad they're getting rid of it. Then blending it out again with this brush. So I cannot find the normal tape that I use. I like to use the blue masking tape because it just comes off really easily, or just like paper tape, like the little paper tape that you used to like on mail letters and stuff. But I have been shipping out so many ponytails that I have used all my shipping tape because I like to tape those down. So I'm going to be using Scotch tape today. Don't recommend this. We'll see how this goes. But I like to set this down and like to create a line, and you can kind of pick depending on your face shape, but I like to kind of go naturally with the line of my eye going up but out, not up too fiercely, kind of leaving it a little more out. Are those even? I usually put one down and then keep redoing the other one to try to get it to match. At a certain point, you have to stay close enough. Oh my gosh, I look crazy boots. Because I'm all out of foundation, I am going to use these two concealers. These are the Born This Way concealers. I'm obsessed with these. These are great. These go on sale at Ulta for BOGO during one of the days of like the Ulta deal, and that's when I got these last. And I'm like, now that I've gotten that taste of a good deal, I kind of don't want to buy them again until there's that deal. I'm going to use my beauty blender, but I'm going to be really gentle over the eyebrows. Gonna add a bit more of the concealer over the eyebrows to blend it in, and also add some kind of down on my eyes, and this is gonna be my eye primer. Notice how I'm like really avoiding the beauty blender on the eyebrow part because this moisture is going to destroy, essentially it's like sweating on it, like destroy, destroy, destroy. Oh my gosh, I sound like Lisa Barlow in that one episode of Housewives.
Here we go, weather. Whitney and Heather, bad weather, tornado. Spin the truth, destroy.
Okay, before I go over the eyebrows with the beauty blender, I'm gonna go back in with this concealer brush and gently blend out that concealer. Okay, back to Housewives. Is anybody watching Housewives of Rhode Island? Me and my girlfriend are absolutely obsessed. Our favorite was Liz, but sorry, spoilers for those who, you know, if you care. But she's leaving for season 2. So sad about that because she was my fave. Similarly, our favorite from Housewives of New York was Jenna, and she's leaving. So yeah, not watching New York anymore because she is gone. I'm sorry, but she was literally the only reason that we decided to watch. So just gonna wait for season 2 of Rhode Island and also season whatever of Salt Lake. That is the best franchise. Okay, as you can see, there is a little bit of, I don't know if you can tell, but you can kind of sort of see the demarcation line between my like foundation and then where the glue kind of starts. And at a certain point, you just kind of have to accept it. Like there's a little bit of a line. If you can kind of see here, the brows are peeking through just a little bit. So I'm just gonna go in with a little bit of my foundation on this brush and gently touch it up. Once everything is laid down, I make sure that I beat my eyeballs because you do not want creases when you set your makeup, because if you set it with a crease, then that crease is gonna be there forever. And I'm going to go back in with that Essence powder. Once that's down, I dust away the excess, and now we are finally ready to begin on the eyes and the brows. And I know that is a lot of prep just to get to this point, but when you have thick eyebrows like me, you gotta do what you gotta do. And I sincerely hope if you have struggled with blocking your brows that this gave you some sort of piece of advice or wisdom or something to help inspire you to continue your journey with blocking your brows, because A lot of my friends are the no brows girlies, and they look good. Like, they all look really good. Honestly, I'm surprised at how good they look, because I know that I would look, I mean, look at me right now. Girl, it's not cute. I do not like it. So I find that my brows are an important part of how I look out of drag, so I cannot commit to that no brow look. I like to start with my eyebrows, and I'm going to use this literally decades old ancient Morphe palette because I love this shade right here. It's like this cool tone neutral, and it's the perfect shade to like put down kind of the rough shape of something, because you can easily kind of dust it away and like hide it. So this is great for me to start with, and I recommend you do that as well if you have not settled on a brow shape yet, to use something light to begin with and then go back in. And I go back in with these two darker shades down here to actually fill in the actual brow shape. So going in with that light powder, and I'm using a kind of fluffy, stiff brush like this that's flat. I like using this rather than a sharp pencil brush, because with those you can see every little angle and it's really hard to get them even, versus with this, because it's a little fluffier, it gives you a little more wiggle room, and also I find it creates a more natural brow shape. Okay, let me stop talking and get into it. So I like to go above where my real brow is, but not too far above, and I go pretty straight. I also like to blend my eyebrows into my hairline. I know not everybody likes that, but I find it's what works for me because I have a smaller face. On camera, I feel like my face looks huge, but especially up here, I have a small forehead, so I find it just works better with my face shape to bring it back into my hairline. Okay, I went ahead and did the other brow. These are really high, a little higher than what I normally do, so I'm gonna kind of shade it down a little bit more. It just means we're gonna have a very big eye today. Once I'm happy with the shape with that lighter shade, I go into the darker shade and slowly start building up the brow, kind of from this middle point in and back. And I keep the front pretty light so there's still a gradient so they look natural. I'm going in with the Trixie Girl Talk palette, specifically the shade BFF4EAE, whatever that means. But it's this purpley shade right here. This eyeshadow palette, as you can see, is kind of falling apart, but I love the pigment on these shades. I load up my brush and then tap off the excess. But also I put down this barrier, so if there is fallout, it's not a big deal, we can clean it up. And to start, I just follow the natural hollows of my eye. We're going big today, so we can just kind of slap that down and work it up into our eyebrow. And something that I do later is I go back in with a white under this area to help clean up the eyebrow and cover it just one last time. So just work it up as close to the eyebrow as you can get it while still leaving a little bit of space. And in terms of the shape that we're creating, in the front, I like it nice and rounded going into my nose. And I eventually bring this into my nose contour. And it's important that you add enough product here because eventually we're going to cut the crease. And you want to have product there so that way when you're cutting the crease at the front, there's something for it to be cut with. That's a mistake I made early on when I first did my makeup, is that I just kept eyeshadow really light right here, which when you're doing like daytime girl makeup, that's perfect. But when you're doing drag makeup, you're gonna wanna lay something down so when you cut the crease, there's more like of a dramatic transition. And then on the outside, I kind of bring it out, and not necessarily down, but just kind of out in the natural line that my eye makes. And that's why we have this tape here, so it will create a nice perfect line when we take it away. I feel like I did such a bad job covering my brows. Maybe don't listen to anything I just said. Also, I should have said before, but I was just using like a fluffy brush. I feel like that was obvious, but just a nice little fluffy brush. Switching to a slightly smaller fluffy brush, and I'm going to pick up the shade Joy Band. This one down here, this purpley, darker purple color. Load up my brush, tap, and we're gonna work that basically in the same places but closer down to the eye to create a nice gradient. Okay, I'm going back in with that original fluffy brush in the original color And I'm going to go back in and just blend that out to give it a really smooth gradient. Next, using a darker purple, it's actually from the Jaclyn Hill palette, this dark purple. You can also use black, but if you have a dark purple, that would be best. And I'm gonna use that same brush I had before with the darker color. I'm gonna focus this even lower, building a gradient. And if you decided to do this makeup tutorial using a different color, just follow the same pattern with, you know, light, medium, dark. On my little towel, I'm going to clean that brush off and then go back in with the medium dark purple shade. And I'm gonna use that to just really blend in that darker shade. And then finally, gonna go to the original brush with the original color and go all the way to the outside and blend it out. So I cleaned off this little brush from earlier on my trusty towel, and this step is very important because you don't want it mixed with foundation. And I'm going to use this white shade from this little Amazon CC Beauty, I bet that's not even a real brand, palette, and it is completely destroyed because I let it get hot in my car for the Hunty Games competition. Shout out if you know about the Hunty Games competition. So I'm going to scoop out a bit of the white and put it on the back of my hand. Okay, wait, I just scooped way too much. I like to do this so the colors don't get all mixed in, because once you start touching your eye, the colors will like mix a little. So this keeps the actual white in the pot staying very bright white. And this is not the best white. Like, this is not, I don't recommend this, honestly. If you can get a better white, get that. But this is what I'm working with. I'm going to take my brush and dip into it. And I'm gonna go beneath my brow. I see here where I didn't add enough eyeshadow up here, so I'm just gonna go in and add a little more. Once I'm happy with the general shape, I usually go in with another kind of brush like this, like a fluffy brush. And the reason why I'm going through the kinds of brushes that I'm using is because makeup application is not just the product you're using and the skill, but also the tool. And I feel like if you're not using the right tools, which often was the problem with me when I first started my makeup, that can really set you back and you don't even realize that it's setting you back. Okay, I'm actually gonna dip this into that purple shade. Once I'm happy with how that bottom part is blended out, I go back in with my powder. And this powder is pink, so it is going to make this look a little more pink. Okay, I did the other eye off camera, and this is what you should be left with. So you can still kind of see my brows a little bit, but by the time we're done, they're mostly covered and disguised into the eyeshadow style. I like to give this a few seconds to kind of like set in and bake, because that liquid is super liquidy. And then once that's all set, I'm going to kind of dust away the excess and then go back in with my original fluffy brush in my original color, tapping off the excess. Just going back in one more time, making sure we all look good. Okay, now we're gonna cut the crease. Going back in with this brush, clean her off on that towel. I like to use my concealer to cut my crease. I like to use something that is gonna stick but is not too liquidy, because if it gets too liquidy, then it's gonna start to like move around and do all sorts of crazy stuff. So I like something that's gonna kind of like stay put. So that's why I use this concealer, the Born This Way. It's important with this step, as all of the steps, to follow the natural shape of your eye and the eyeshadow that you laid down. Don't try to force something onto you that is completely unnatural, and like if your features are fighting it, you're not going to win that battle. When I cut my crease, I like to kind of do it, step away, look at it, and this is why we don't use something super wet, because when you move your eye around, you're going to get a little bit of transfer. So don't use something wet. I keep looking down to kind of compare the crease to the overall eye shape, and y'all, I went humongous today, so we're having to cut the crease pretty big in order to match this eye shape. And I'm kind of fighting with my features a little bit here, because You can see my skin like folds. I'm starting to work like above where my natural crease is. So whenever you start to get to that point too, just be mindful of your natural features, what's going on and how it looks. Like, how does it look from the side? Like, make sure you take that peep in the mirror. Okay, ooh. Just when I thought I was happy with this. We're just gonna do the other eye and meet back here. Okay, we are back with the other eye done, and I feel the same way about it as this one, that when I look in the mirror and I kind of like move my eyes around, I'm happy with it, but not fully happy with it. So we're gonna just move on. We're already here. There's no turning back now. I'm gonna take a little brush like this and I'm going to clean it off. This is the Extravaganza palette by Laganja Estranja, and we're going to be using this yellow shade here called Lighters Up.
Hey, put your lighters up.
I'm gonna pack my brush, tap off the excess, and then just go in. And because this concealer is still sticky, it should like stick to it really well and make it pop. And if you're wondering like, oh, why is Mia doing yellow with purple? Well, first of all, a mother does yellow with purple. And that is what this look is inspired by, is that Sasha Colby finale look. So first of all. Second of all, these are opposing colors, like on the color wheel. And when you do opposing colors like this, it creates an effect that really pops. So if you're ever unsure of what color to do, just like to pair with something, look at it on a color wheel and go to the opposite side and kind of pick from those colors over there. That's one of the reasons why I also love blue and orange together. Like, blue eyeshadow with an orange outfit eats every single time for me. Like, I'm sorry, that is a hill I will die on. Okay, next we are going to conquer liner, and I use the Essence liner, specifically the Essence Eyeliner Pen Extra Long Lasting 24-hour long lasting in the shade Black is Black. I don't really care for the long lasting, or like I'm not here to comment on that. I'm just letting you know what specifically it is, because there's a million options when you go there, like, and you look at the display, it's like too much to pick from. Same with the mascaras, it's like, whoa. I hate doing liner, and that's why I put this tape down to help create the shape. But it is important to do liner because when you put your lash band down, putting liner kind of creates like a runway for it. So that way, if it's like not perfectly attached to your lash line, it's okay. In terms of how I'm going to explain this, I'm just going to zoom in and let you watch, because it's going to be really hard for me to talk while doing this. And my best advice with liner is to just keep practicing, and you will get better with time. This is turning accidentally huge, and I don't even know what to do with this outer part. I'm gonna take that tiny brush with the darkest purple. Let's see if I can blend this out. Oh god. Okay, I'm not really sure what all that is, but we're gonna make it match on the other eye. I don't want to make it match, it's so hard, but wish me luck and meet back here. Okay, I just finished the other eye, and I'm being very careful to not open my eye so it doesn't transfer. And pro tip is to get a little bit of black eyeshadow on a little brush and use that to set your eyeshadow, or set your eyeliner, so that way you don't have to worry about transfer. Okay, this makeup is like accidentally huge, but I kind of like it. And you know what? That's drag. Okay, we can finally remove our tape. Oh, so satisfying. So I'm going to go get a fresh towel and just wipe down my face, like the bottom half of my face, with no face wash or anything like that. Just a gentle wipe with water with a towel, and then put on moisturizer over top of that, and then come back down and go back to foundation and finish the rest of this face. Moving on to foundation, because I'm all out of foundation, I'm just gonna go straight in with concealer. And this pretty much works as foundation. I'm also gonna take a lighter shade. The first one I'm using was Swan. And then I'm also taking a little bit of Cloud, which is lighter, and putting that closer to under my eyes to really give it that pop and that contour and highlight and all that stuff. And going in with my beauty blender. Go in with this blush. If you have cream contour, I would recommend doing that, but I don't have any. So I should have gotten one of these in the contour shades, but I don't think they had them because I probably would have picked that up. But this little Dusty Rose shade is from just the little Dollar Tree brand, and it gets the job done for me. So, and to blend this out, I like to use this little stippling brush. Oof, she is dirty. And I really like brushes like this to blend out blush because it keeps the product concentrated but still starts to blend it out a little bit. It's not like that brush from earlier that we were using with our concealer. I'm like trying to find it. She gone. Does that happen to anybody else when you start doing your makeup? It's like everything just starts disappearing and your station gets all messy. My girlfriend always comes in and is like, what happened? I'm like, just my makeup, that's it. But I'm using this blush and I'm just tracing my natural line of my cheeks, and I'm keeping that white underneath of the eye so that way we stay nice and snatched. I then go in with my beauty blender and start on the inner cheeks and then slowly blend out. I'm gonna add just a little bit more of this blush right here to keep it extra concentrated, and I'm also gonna add just a little more of that cloud right here, just so that way the inner area is extra bright. I think some of that pink came in there. Once I'm happy with how that looks, I like to go back in under my eyes one more time and make sure that there's absolutely no creases, because you will set those creases in if you leave them and you set with powder. And then I'm gonna go back in with my powder, and these puffs that I'm using are from like Ross or Marshalls, so they came in a pack. They're Japanesque. I am obsessed with these, and you can toss these in the wash and wash them and just keep using them forever, so I highly recommend those. And I also like the point so I can really get up in that inner corner. So I'm gonna take this towel and just wipe away the excess around my lips, and then I'm gonna apply a little bit of lip balm so that way my lips are nice and plump and prepped for when lip liner comes. So once I get to this part of my base, I like to go in with bronzer, and the bronzer that I'm using is the Sephora brand bronzer in the shade Golden Getaway. This isn't my fave, but I got it on sale with a Sephora sale when it was 30% off. So it ended up being, I think, like just as cheap as what you can get at Ulta, and it's just fine. I honestly really like the Fenty bronzers. Those are the best. And when I put this, I like to pinch my brush like this. Sometimes I put a little piece of paper, but honestly, I find pinching the brush to kind of get that shape works best. But one thing I do like about this bronzer is that it builds up, so the more you add, the darker it gets. So it's nice and buildable. And I just blend this up into the blush. And this is why I like also going ahead and laying that blush layer, so everything after that just kind of blends in a little more seamlessly. Also, blush is the first to go. Like, that is the first part of your makeup that will start to fade. So by adding a cream layer, we're helping ensure that it stays popping all night long. I also like to take my bronzer and go down my neck, and of course I like to contour my little, I don't really have like a double chin, but you know what I mean, it could be a little more snatched. So we're just gonna give that effect with bronzer, and when I bring it up my jaw like this, it's gonna be nice and snatched. Ace is doing something crazy back there. Of course he stops when the camera's on. I also take a little bit of bronzer up here on the forehead just to kind of pull the look together. Once I get to this point, I like to cut the bottom. Ooh, I just dropped my puff and my powder. Thankfully, we didn't lose too much of the powder. But I like to take it with the edge of the puff, really load it up with powder, and then go in and just carve out the bottom of that jaw. And because this is translucent powder, it's not gonna like do too much or be that dramatic once we wipe it away. But I find that this helps just clean it up and give a very sharp kind of look. We are chugging right along to nose contour, and I'm just cleaning off the brush that we used for our eyebrows. A like dense, kind of still a little fluffy, not like a thin brush, but still like pointy, so we can get a shape to it. And I'm gonna go back in with that original really light cool tone color, because this is just the best contour shade in my opinion, because it's cool toned. So contour, you want it to be cool tone. I do go over top of it with my bronzer, but this is just kind of setting that face. So I don't like to fight what's going on with my nose, so I just follow the natural line here from where the eyeshadow kind of stops. Bring it in like this. Sometimes I like cut off the tip of my nose with eyeshadow and create like a little button nose, kind of Ariana Grande style. But I don't do that all the time because I find putting that strip in the middle of my nose is, that's 30 minutes on its own getting that to look good. I'm bringing the nose contour in just a little bit, just to pinch the nose just a wee bit. I find adding nose contour for me is less about transforming the shape of my nose and more just adding in a little bit of definition, because we have added so much foundation and other stuff elsewhere that if you leave your nose blank, it kind of looks lost. From here, I like to go underneath my nose and kind of go up and create more of a button shape this way. I will then start to go in with my bronzer to darken it up. I do the same thing with the powder that I did underneath our contour. With the nose contour, I put a line right here. This just helps crisp it up and also give us extra protection for when we add the eyeshadow underneath our eye, that it doesn't fly all over this way, and if it does, it will be able to be wiped away. I decided I'm actually going to take a little bit of my dark eyebrow shade and put just a little bit of that. Ooh, it's extra dark. Maybe that was a mistake. I just wanted to, oh God. Oh God. That was too much. Okay, let's stop while we're ahead. Now we are going to move to underneath the eye and my favorite brush, this one that I use for eyebrows, nose contour, and now also the underneath the eye. I'm going to wipe it off and use it again. I used to have another brush that I like to use for underneath the eye, but did y'all see that? I feel like the lighting just got weird. Or like it just flashed weird. Anyways, I used to have a different brush, but I either lost it or broke it, so she just hasn't been seen. So going back to this one, and it is important that you do not use a big fluffy brush. Even like this, the tape that I use is sticking to everything. Like this, I think is too big and too fluffy. Like this is way too big, way too fluffy. I recommend using something like this, you know, like small, that you can really get underneath of there, and it's not gonna like my cheekbones stick out. So like you do not, I don't want shadow down here. I want here. You see exactly where we want to put it. So you gotta have the right brush in order to accomplish that. And this is where I debate. I'm like, oh. Y'all see that? I debate like, do I want to use the same purple? I think I want to use the same purple. I think that's what makes the most sense. That's what's easiest. Going back in with the OG purple. You can already see, like, you see it starting to, we don't want that. I don't want it to come all the way down here. I want it to stay close to the eye. So make sure you tap off the excess. I'm not coming all the way in. I like to leave this area right here blank, and I add a little bit of highlight there at the very end. And that is something that I just do personally because of the way my face is shaped. My nose like comes in hot and heavy right by my eyes. So I know some girls that like to do, like they bring the liner in right here, but as soon as you start bringing the liner past here, you're on my nose. And liner on the nose like that, it looks a little crazy. So that's not the journey for me. This is the journey for me, is putting a little bit of highlighter right there. But if you would like to bring your liner down into this area, if you have space, go for it. So I'm just blending this kind of up into the eyeshadow, or sorry, the eyeliner, very naturally, like just following that natural crease. Next, using that same brush, I'm going to go in with the medium purple color, and I'm going to concentrate that on the outside close to where the liner is. And just bring that in, and don't really bring it past like where my pupil is. Last, I'm going to go in with the darkest purple shade that is almost black. And I just concentrate that on the very outer part, basically just blending this eyeshadow into the liner. You can see I have a little bit of fallout, and I'm just gonna dust that away with my fluffy brush. gonna go in with the smaller fluffy brush with the medium purple shade and just use that to gently blend those two together. Okay, naturally as I'm blending this, it's kind of going up, so but I don't really want it to. Okay, I'm gonna go back to this brush, clean it off, and go in with the light purple shade. I hate the way that's looking. That looks so crunchy and bad. I am not happy with this. I'm gonna go back in with the dark purple shade. So the makeup is kind of chosen for me that we're gonna take this white liner and add a little white line underneath the liner here, because this is what I say when you don't want to fight the makeup. Just do what it tells you to do. So this is the Makeup Forever white, what is it called? Aqua Resist Color Ink. And they always have some crazy name. Why can't it just be called white liner? But this is so good. I swatched this in the store against the Sephora, and it was like, literally like me and the store person were both left speechless, because the Makeup Forever one was so much more whiter compared to the Sephora brand one. This is one of those items that I do splurge on. Okay, so I'm gonna take this liner, shake it up, and this dries quickly, so you do not want to mess this up. Like once you put this down, there's kind of no going back. If you don't have liner like this, you can also use a brush and use that white, like if you have a white like thingy like we used earlier, you can also use that to basically achieve the same effect. The only problem with that is that you kind of have to set it, so then whatever you set it with, it'll like dilute the white. So that's why I like to use this. Okay, we are slowly but surely reaching the conclusion of this makeup routine. So I'm gonna go in with this blush. I got this from Santee Alley, and people told me don't buy makeup from Santee Alley because it's like covered in, I don't know, chemicals and poop and I don't know, but I bought it, so I'm using it. It's a pink. This is a little different than the color blush that we put underneath, but I'm okay with that. I kind of like the way that this light pink peeks through on my skin, and the outfit that I'm wearing tonight is purple and pink, so I like that this light pink kind of ties in with the outfit. I also take a bit of my blush down here, a little bit on the nose, just a little bit up here. Then I use my big fluffy brush and wipe away the baking that we did. I'm debating if, because we did the white line here, I think we're gonna add another white line in this inner corner. Well, actually first, we're gonna take some highlighter. I like to use this little fluffy brush like this, like kind of still pointy. And I'm just using this old like Ofra Cosmetics highlighter. Ofra had the best highlighters. My friend got this in an Ipsy bag and was like, whoa, this is too intense. I was like, yeah, this is this is Drag Me Makeup Penny. I load up my brush, go right here. Normally I just leave it at that, but I think I'm gonna add a little white line to connect it to the other white line that we did. I'm also gonna take a little bit of this and put it on the tip of my nose. Just go up a little bit. And I'm also gonna put it on my brow bones. Last, before I set my face, I'm gonna go back in with a little bit more highlighter and put that on my cheeks. Y'all, I'm a slut for highlighter, okay? I'm sorry. And then I'm gonna go in with setting spray. Okay, I'm gonna go in with Bottom Mascara. And now you can draw on little liners, like little bottom lashes, or stick on individual lashes, or do a full like strip on the bottom. But I find if you're just starting out, this is kind of like a foolproof method, if you know what I'm saying. Now that that's done, before we do false lashes, I'm gonna take this black tight liner and just tightline all of my eyes. Now that I've tightlined my eyes, I'm gonna take my lash glue and I'm just gonna completely coat the back of this lash. I like to add quite a bit because we do not want this coming off. And this is why we add such a nice, do y'all see it's like transferring just a little bit right there. This is why we add a nice runway, so that way we have a lot for it to stick onto, because these are triple stacked lashes, so these are pretty big. And then I also like to put 3 little dots on my eye. While I'm waiting for that lash glue to dry down, I'm going to powder. I'm gonna do my lips. And I'm using a pink lip. I might add in a little bit of like more of a nude shade to darken it, but I kind of want to stick with the pink theme. So we're gonna use this MAC pink liner. What's it called? Dervish. It's important when overlining lips to overline here and here, but not here. That's when you start to look like a clown. Now, I don't discriminate against clowns, okay? You can look like a clown, but you clicked on this video for drag queen makeup, okay? Not clown makeup. I like to kind of bring them in so there's still a little point that kind of mirrors the shape of my actual lip. And I find doing this, basically drawing my exact same lip, just slightly higher, I find that it really helps like give the illusion because it all kind of blends in together. I'm not like fighting my features. I feel like I've said that a bunch of times throughout this video, but truly just go with your features, like enhance your own features. Don't try to paint somebody else's face onto your face because it will look like you painted somebody else's face onto your face. I say that as I'm teaching you how to paint a face, but I'm hoping that you take up tips that are not just exactly what I'm doing and they can actually help you do your own mug. This liner's like kind of crumbling everywhere. MAC. I mean, it is old. I'm just saying right now, I like the Essence ones better. Hot take. Oof, my lashes are probably dry. Yeah, these are pretty much ready to go. You want them to be like pretty, ooh, there's still quite a bit of glue, but you want it to be pretty tacky. You don't want it to be like super wet. Oof, that is way, oh. I can see by sticking this down, I like pulled up a bit of my liner underneath, and that's okay. We're just gonna go over top of it. This one just looks funny because of the shadow. I think it's like, you see, it's like casting a shadow. Can I like adjust this light? I'll show you. I promise it looks good. Okay, let's finish this lip. And you know what? I am gonna go in with just a bit of the Essence liner and Sugar and Spice just to define the outside a bit more. And over top of this, I'm using the Morphe Liquid Lip in Virgin. I'd recommend something matte, not too creamy, not gloss, because then your hair and stuff will get stuck in it. And we want this to last all day long. I always kiss the towel. Get the extra off. And then we're actually, ooh, are we done? Are we done? Because I kind of want to add some rhinestones. Oh, we got an Ellie in here. Did y'all hear that big boom? Ellie scared that big boom. So I'm gonna take some rhinestones with a little rhinestone picker. Just using my lash glue, I'm going to make 3 little dots over here. Yes, yes. Now we're done. Okay, I grabbed the phone from the stand so you can get up close and personal with this mug to see what we did, see what it looks like up close. Yeah, you can see the brows a little bit, you can see the real lip a little bit, but it's okay. We got Ellie back here scared because the big boom. Girl, this is gonna look so puss under the stage lights. This is one of those mugs that even when the lights are off, you're standing backstage, people can still see that mug. Girl, see, you're painted.